Want more podcast fandom in your ear holes? Of course you do. And so it's a good thing for you that we are back beginning all new coverage of some of your favorite shows. And you can still head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom to become a premium subscriber for access to our coverage of shows like Westworld, WandaVision, Loki, Attack on Titan, The Legend of Korra, and more. Also, if you are on Clubhouse, look up our club, Podcast Fandom, where we talk about shows like The Walking Dead and WandaVision. It's so much fun because you guys get to listen live as we discuss TV shows and then come up on stage to ask your questions and share your thoughts. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and we also host game nights there. So make sure you join and follow us. And now, get into this free shit. Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Sarah.
And you did know I did not know where we were, right? Like you heard that. Okay, I'm sure everybody did, so I'm not redoing it. But we are here again to talk about Shadow and Bone. We're going to be talking about episodes 5 and 6. Sarah's in charge of the titles.
Episode 5 is Show Me Who You Are, and episode 6 is The Heart is an Arrow.
The Heart is an Arrow. And actually, I will take a screenshot so you guys don't think I'm lying. I'm going to do it right now. I actually did have the title to fit the 5th one written down, but I hadn't written down the one to the 6th. So, okay,
well,
so.
It's not in some made-up language. So
right, yeah. Oh, God, thank you. First of all, yesterday we got this really nice tweet, and I should have marked his name, and I didn't because I'm an idiot. But in my defense, I got a lot going on. But someone tagged us yesterday saying how much they were enjoying these podcasts because after listening to us talk about the first 4 episodes, they went back and rewatched them, because they had missed stuff that they, were hearing for the first time because we were bringing it up. So I love podcasting. I love when that happens because it feels like we're actually doing something good and not just running our mouths.
One person was helped.
Yes,
so
and that's all that's all we need. So I'm scrolling through my tweets to find it, but I will say that if I'm enjoying the show immensely, but I'm absolutely, I think, enjoying it more because we're talking about it, and it is just like a lot, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's not even like, it's a made up language. It's all these made up names and races of people and types of practices of magic and all that. It's a lot to remember, and I think I was trying to, when I rewatched it for podcast notes after those tweets, I was like, if I were watching this without anything, like no prior book knowledge, no Sarah to help me out, no podcast, what would I think? Like, would this be complicated? Like, would I need a podcast to go? And it occurred to me that I do think that a lot of the political stuff is maybe not as apparent to folks, like all those machinations, like the succession, and I feel like each episode they're telling you like a little bit more, but to be honest with you, I still don't remember the guy who is trying to do this coup and secede from the country, I don't remember his name, that type of stuff. I feel like that's a big character probably in the 2nd season, that, you know what I mean, maybe there's not going to be too much with him these next 2 episodes, but I could definitely see people not making those connections and then maybe being a little bit confused when Arkin straight murks somebody in this episode.
Right. I thought he was a part of the Crows.
Didn't I say last week? I was like, Sarah, I like him. You were like, yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. And I knew then, I was like, oh, damn.
R.I.P.
Yes. He was like, she don't want to spoil me, but apparently this motherfucker ain't no good. But then you're like, yeah, don't you remember when he dipped in that tent? It was, and I was like, oh, that's right, I didn't get it. But see, that's the type of stuff. I say all this to say that I feel like that is the type of stuff that I think maybe listeners are picking up on. Like, oh, that's right, he did go in that tent. That's why, and Kaz did see that. That's the type of stuff that might be lost on some people, and even me. I'm being honest. If I didn't have this podcast.
Yeah.
So how are you? I know how are you still? Are you still liking it? What were your overall thoughts on these two episodes?
Yeah, these two are my favorite episodes of the season.
Ooh.
So I'm excited to talk about them. I really, really liked them.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did. So did I. I know I told you I watched it. I don't know if I said this part since we've been live, but I was telling Sarah that like I'm pretty sure I watched these episodes the first time immediately after we recorded last Sunday because I was just hyped. I was hyped about my
Yeah.
theories, which I was right. That little motherfucker is the fucking what's his name? The
Right. The
Black
Black
Heretic.
Heretic.
Yes, I almost said the
Yes.
Black Darkling, which would have been redundant, but he is. He's the Black Darkling. He's the Black Heretic. He's
He's the
evil.
darkest Darkling.
Yes, his whole bloodline apparently can bring the shadows and shit. His mama,
Yes.
but at least his mama seems to have some sense.
Some. Yeah.
Let's find out that Qyburn is his dad.
Oh my God.
Because that motherfucker's dressed all in black too. I'm been side
Let
eyeing.
me, let me just say it's not.
Okay. Sounds like I don't want you walking around saying that for a week. Getting dragged on the internet.
Right.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it too. And I will. Yeah, I agree with you. But I haven't seen the next two, so I can't say the like my favorite overall. But of the six, two, four, six, yeah, the six that I've seen, these two are my favorite too.
Hmm. They're so
Such
good.
stuff. And really, the crows really are like, man, if these were different types of characters, this would not be nearly as good.
Right.
They did a really good job with these three and the mystery still surrounding all three of them and um just how capable and badass they are and funny and charming. Like, give me more
Right.
of them, please.
Yes. Yes. It
Yeah.
definitely punches up the action
Mhm.
and keeps it from being too brooding and backroom
Mhm.
negotiations and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you do get to see their I'm talking about the crows specifically, you get to see their chemistry and pulling off jobs work like we saw
yeah.
last week with getting the copy of the little palace plans and now this. Like, I like that kind of like silent communication between them. um yeah, okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it because there was a lot that went on.
Hmm.
um and as always, my notes are in chronological order, but I don't write down like everything. So if I skip past a moment and or a time period in the episode and if there was like a detail I didn't bring up, cut me off. No problem.
Okay.
All right. So episode 5, Show Me Who You Are. We're getting prep for the presentation. They're going to present her before the king and everyone, apparently, to show not only, because I guess it's been like kind of whispered about, right? There's a rumor
Right.
that they have the sun summoner and all that to show not only that she's here, but like she's powerful.
Yeah.
Right. And it just occurred to me because there's a conversation later in the episode is something that, again, if we were not doing this podcast, I might have just been like, whatever, this isn't action, this is boring. But it is, I feel like, again, I don't know for certain, but it feels like obviously this isn't going to all be wrapped up in 2 episodes. And it feels
Hmm.
like the fact that there's a pretty influential part of their government, their military that wants to secede, and he has followers and all of that. I feel like that's definitely gonna continue into season 2. But it just
Hmm.
occurred to me as I was talking that I guess that's part of it too, right? Like, if you know that there's this other guy, if you're the king and you know that there is, like, South Carolina's talking shit and they want to
Right.
secede, right? And you got Colonel whatever the fuck or General so and so in South Carolina talking shit, and he's sounding convincing, right? Like, we saw him out there
Hmm.
giving that speech. If you want to say no, you need to stick with me and the way things, and I'm gonna take care of this and I'm gonna take care of the full, and look, I have the sun summoner. I guess this is like, she's propaganda also, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, like a bunch of people in this room are ambassadors
Ah, okay. Thank
from
you.
the other side and also on their own side. So,
Okay. And that makes sense too because that was the other thing. Like I don't know if you heard me say like she's being presented before the king, and I think I kind of miss why the people who were in attendance were so important. Like,
hmm
but yeah, this makes sense because it's two ambassadors I believe that have the conversation that I'm going to refer to later that I thought was
yes.
really interesting. Okay. Um, so when the episode begins and they're prepping, it's Marie and I forget the black girl's name.
Nadia.
Nadia, and Alina, and they're just like we see now that they're well, these two were always really nice and sweet to her, but they're clearly like closer and friendly and
hmm
joking around. And someone asked out um, Marie, and she accidentally like set him on fire. A squaller had to like push him into the lake to set it out. But she was flustered because I guess, cause the guys never asked her out before. So we get to see like they are closer. And I didn't pick up on this the first time, but they're interrupted when Jenya tells Marie she has to go get fitted for the kefta.
There you go. Yep. And all
Yeah.
she says is they need you for the kefta.
Yeah, that's it. They need
Oh,
you for the kefta. Right.
right.
And she rushes out and she leaves with Nadia. And I like this though because when um, Alina starts talking about, I think I'll wear the black from now on, and she's just like obviously different.
hmm
She's like, Jenya's like, I like this side of you, but also be careful. And she's like, of what? And I'm like, girl,
Yes.
why is there still like titty milk on your breath? Like, why are you so mean?
Ah,
What do
yeah.
you think you need to be careful of? She's like, men with power. And she freaking alludes to the fact that the king be fucking with her, right? Like he's
Yes.
either trying stuff
Yes.
with her or he makes her have sex with him.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's trying to say it without saying it.
Yes, because she says like the queen will have her wake up at the crack of dawn, make her wake up that early just to come fix her face before the rest of her team comes in. So she doesn't even want the rest of her team to see her natural face. She makes Jenya fix her up a little bit early in the morning before the people come in to like brush her hair and shit. And then
Right.
she says, so she basically like takes up all of her time. She says until the sun goes down. Like he doesn't bother her until the sun goes down or something like that. And I was like, oh,
hmm
that gross motherfucker.
Yeah.
He can choke.
hmm
And that made me and I don't think we were ever supposed to be suspicious of Jenya, right? Like I feel like they've been pretty straight that she's a good character, I think. Right? Don't no.
Yeah, yes, but also remember that she works directly for the Darkling. So,
Yes, this is true. This is true.
I mean, she is being straight with her about this.
Right,
That's
right,
not
right.
manipulative or
Right,
anything
right.
like that. But she is also a part of the fact that the letters are not getting them out.
Yes, yes. I was gonna say because she does say in this episode nothing from Mal. Like before Alina, and like Alina wasn't gonna ask, and so she
hmm
tells her like you can stop. I ain't sweating him no
Right.
more. um, but yeah, so she tells her that, and then David the fabricator comes in. And I miss a lot of the details of these interactions my first time, but I did pick up like, oh, she likes him obviously because that's how the scene ends. But he can, um, he had made these gloves that should help Alina when she wants to split the light, like put up a ball of light and split it into two with one hand. And she was like, she tries them on, and then she's like, she does it with her bare hand. She's like, yeah, I'm good.
Right.
No thanks. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Take these
All
ugly
that
ass.
time. Yeah.
And then so again, like now watching it the second time, I was like, she y'all want her to just wear them ugly ass gloves all the time. Like we couldn't do better than this.
They're like mittens.
They
It was
were, and
terrible.
they look so flammable. Like they just look like straw.
Leather?
Like
Could you
what?
do something, a little more stylish? Like they look like, I don't know, like those mesh gloves that you can take things out of the oven
Yeah,
with.
I was like, are these a prototype? Because you need to go like fix these up a little bit.
Yikes. Yeah.
But he seems to like, he it feels like he has like these tics or
Yeah.
like a social, like maybe like a social anxiety of like looking people in the eye and stuff like that, and the way he
Mhm.
talks. But clearly Jenya finds him just endearing and she likes
Right.
him. And he likes her too because I like how in the ball later he's looking at her and she turns around and he pretends that he was looking in a different direction and he only looks at her again until when she turns her head back around. I was like, yeah.
Yes, and that look that he gives
He's
her
so
when she turns
smirk.
back
Yes. I
around.
was like, oh, he ain't
Oh,
oblivious. I thought he was a bit oblivious the first scene. I
yeah.
was like, oh, he knows. Okay. Um so let's see. So the Kaz and the Crows get inside posing as performers. Kaz is posing as one of the guards, one of the military, one of the soldiers, right? Like that
Yes.
would
Yeah.
report to like Ivan and them, right?
Hmm.
And as such, he finds a secret room. He realizes that there's a wall in the hall, and I'm guessing like towards in the residence area of the little palace
Hmm.
that is weird and seems out of place. And he realizes we find out later. He tells them later that we find out later a fabricator has like made like a hidden mechanism on it that will unlock the wall so that you can move it and open it like a door.
Yeah.
Um, and it's in there that uh, Marie is being fitted. There's the two keftas. There's like the blue with
Exactly.
the gold that she would normally wear, and then there's the black one, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Um, Jesper, I thought this was gonna be another one of those. They're having him be so dippy, and he's gonna fuck up the like. They're gonna need
Right.
an escape carriage, and it's not gonna work again because But it wasn't that. I'm so glad it wasn't. But anyway, he's scoping out this stable hand because he's just a scoundrel.
Incorrigible.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, and we learn here that the act with the scarves and
Hmm.
the that is she can do that. I know she couldn't
Yeah.
do that before. She says I haven't done this routine since I was 14.
Right.
Okay, so because I think we talked about this last time, like
Hmm.
did he know she could do that? Did she just wing it because she's just really good? Um, And when he's outside, Jesper's outside because it's like all these like festivities outside that Alina convinces Jenya to let her go out and see for a little bit. And she's like walking around in her robe. I was like, sis,
I thought she was going to disguise herself, like put
yes,
on a hat
she
or
said
something.
two
Like she just
hats
walks right out, and Jinya doesn't change her kefta at all.
at all.
Like everyone knows who she is.
Right. I was like, remember when she was like, I'll wear this, I'll wear a hat, I'll wear two hats. And then she just went out there in the
She
same
just walks
fucking
out
clothes.
in her pajamas.
Yes. So it's like, you look like a spoiled fucking princess, dummy.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ, you look exactly like a spoiled princess who made somebody let her come outside for a few minutes.
Yes, people are going to be like, why is Jinya running around with
Right,
anxiety behind this woman in her
right.
pajamas?
Exactly. Is that the sun summoner? But this does allow Jesper an opportunity to see Alina and later tell the rest of the crows that she's part shoe or
Right.
shoeish.
So they know who she looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. And I'm assuming because this is after we've seen Kaz see the other girl that he then
Hmm.
knows that she is a decoy. Beside, in
Yes.
addition to the fact that there was two Keftas there, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
that he would, in order, because they look so different, they would have to bring in somebody who could change her face.
Right.
I love this little part, though, when Fedor comes to retrieve them and he like yells at them,
Kaylee.
and she's like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "Oh, I was just imitating
Yes.
Ivan.
I
How
was
did I do?"
I was practicing, yes.
And then they go like marching off, arm
Uh-huh.
in arm out. That is so adorable.
So Mal learns that they're gonna deliver a letter to Kerrigan telling him about the stag, and he insists on going. And the like colonel or whatever says you'll both go. So the soldier he was
Mhm.
going to originally send is gonna go with Mal, and we see how that worked out for him. They keep getting people killed.
Just bodies, catching bodies left and right.
Mal and Alina just get motherfuckers killed to
Just
see each
do
other.
not care. Do
Every
not care.
episode, I feel like they've gotten somebody killed just to be together. Um, Jesper tells the others, I already said this, right, about what he saw, and then Kaz realizes it's a decoy, and they're going to launch like this plan that they call, what is it, like a lynx
Yes, the
plan?
Lynx flush.
The lynx flush. Now, this is funny because he decides Arkin will grab Alina right?
Hmm.
And now it's just like I know she's immediately like, "You're gonna let the guy we just met retrieve our million Krug prize, like bounty, like
Right.
what?" And they decide it's gonna be him because he carries a lodestone that's strong enough to magnetism to move those the cogs that
Right.
the fabricator put in the wall as a lock
Hmm.
system. Okay. So it makes like she made sense, but he's like, like, no, this is why he's going to be the one to do it. So that made sense as well. But it also does set up, like, if especially if you weren't paying attention and you didn't realize that, or you didn't even remember, right, that Kaz watched him go into
Right.
that tent in a prior episode, it could feel really reasonable. But if you remember that, then you have to be suspicious, right, that he is on to Arkin. But you just don't quite yet know.
Yes, but I do think that like right there when he explains why he's picking Arkin and then he says about the Lynx flush and she goes, "Oh, really?"
She
I think
gets it.
she knows
Yes,
at
I was
that
going to
point.
say, I do think
Yeah.
that and even I think Jesper got it too, because like right
Hmm.
at the end, like I think like the last bit of dialogue and the shot in that carriage is between the two of them. And there's like a pause and Jesper's like, "Yep, like I'm ready," and I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, yeah." In retrospect, it looks like the two of them were absolutely aware, like he has a plan.
Yeah.
Um
Love it.
so go ahead.
No, I just said I love that.
Yeah,
That's great.
even though it caught, I mean, like I said, I thought he was supposed to be a good person, but and then this is where we hear like the whispers about the succession of the West, and I'm assuming these are like two ambassadors that are talking about,
Hmm.
you know, and then they mention what's his name again?
Zlatan.
Zlatan.
Hmm.
I'm never gonna remember that. I'm
Right.
gonna have to
One
look.
of them is a Fjerdan ambassador, and then I'm not sure who the other one was, but the guy was saying that Fjerda is behind uh,
Yes,
Zlatan.
yes. And so, and it's like, oh, no wonder, like, he's not here. Like,
Right.
he wouldn't show his
Why
face.
would he be here?
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. He would probably get arrested. Um, so now, and this is where I got it, like, the connection came because when I'm paraphrasing, I was writing fast. Like, one of them says something like, if this show works, meaning, like, if this is the Sun Summoner, right?
Hmm.
I may have to reevaluate my commitments.
Right.
Yeah. So she does it. She goes in there. Now this is weird because the Darkling's talking to the king and queen in front of like everyone, and Alina's walking by with Jenya, and she's supposed
Wait,
to go ahead.
before they do that though,
Go ahead.
she goes in and like sneaks into his room, of course.
Oh,
Like she's
that's
always
right.
wandering into his room, you
Yes,
know. This is
yes.
definitely a thing that she does
And
in the books.
he's like in the bedroom, and she walks into like the first room, and he assumes it's Ivan, and he calls for his captain. She brings it to him instead, and this is
Hmm.
where she kisses him. That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And he's like, "Oh, you mean a lot to everyone,"
Yes.
you know. And
Yeah.
she picks that up. And this was an invention. This doesn't happen in the books. This
Mm.
was an invention of my best friend Ben, who wanted it to be that she chooses to kiss
Yeah.
him first, and
Yes.
then he kind of knows what he's got to work with.
Right.
Like it in his mind at this point he's genuine in his feelings. Like, obviously, he wants her
Hmm.
power for the power,
Right.
but also he is really lonely and really does want to be with her. And
Hmm.
he imagines that he is falling in love with her,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, okay, great,
Hmm.
and that's what happens later. But of course, then when things go south, then
Yeah.
that's when the other
Hmm.
part of him comes out. So,
Um. Yeah. So she later when she's walking by the room, and she's supposed to like make like an entrance with guards and stuff,
yeah.
but she sees him standing there, and she just walks into the room. And of course, like everybody looks at her because they're like, "Oh, who's that?" And then she walks over to him, and at first he looks like upset. He's like, you're supposed to be escorted by guards. And he kind of looks away, like over her head and to the left. And he goes, you look great, by the way, or something like that. You look beautiful, by
Yes.
the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scolding you, but also, and I'm
Right.
going to say this incredibly sweet, like, thing to you
Hmm.
without looking at you. And I'm doing that because others can't know. Like, this is titillating as
Exactly.
hell.
It really
This,
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
this would work on me. I don't know many
for
that
sure.
this would work on, right? Like,
Right.
you're feeling
Right.
special. Yeah.
Yeah. That illicit, dangerous kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But
Mm-hmm.
also, you don't know that there's anything up with him. So,
Right.
you buy it. And
Yeah.
she says, you know, you looked like you needed saving.
Yes. Oh, and that's exactly what he has been going for.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then for some reason, like the show, I don't know, the two Inferni just start, the brother and sister, they just start throwing fireballs like fucking Donkey Kong over barrels and shit over people's heads. I'm like, what are we doing?
I think they were like, I mean, that was part of the planned show,
Right.
but I think they saw, like, everyone was so immediately spotted her and saw him looking at her. So they know who
Ah.
she is. So they're kind of like providing distraction as to,
Mm-hmm.
does she want to go back out and regroup, or,
Right, right,
like
right.
they need to decide how they're going to play this.
And he's like, oh, let's give them a real show. So he presents her. He's so fucking dramatic. Her name is Alina Stark. I'm like, shut up.
And you see how, like, he he's quiet. Like, he expects everyone else to be silent.
Yeah, like, right. Like, listen better if you can't hear me.
Right.
Because it was low
He's
as
not
shit.
gonna shout over your asses.
Like, it was literally like he was only speaking for the benefit of the people in his immediate proximity. Like, he didn't give a fuck about the
The front row.
motherfuckers in the back by the hors d'oeuvre table. Oh my god. But yeah, he brings in the shadow and then she puts on this light show and at right before that, Kaz had told Inej that the chandelier,
Hmm.
he wanted her to do something that would have the light like bounce off of that and blind people and they could snatch her, right? Was
Well, I
that the
think what
plan?
he was doing was pointing out how she's a fake. He was like, she's gonna be
Oh,
white.
I thought he was waiting for her to do something because later when he was
No,
like, oh, because she let her go
right,
in the next episode.
right.
Okay, because he was like, why did you let her go? And I was like, was she supposed to do something? And okay, that clears something up for me because later when he was like, no, 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 it's Jesper. He was like, was it Jesper? No, 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 it was Cass, where he does the coin trick,
Hmm.
the illusion. And
Right.
I was like, does he really believe? Like, I don't know why it took me then to get that he doesn't believe. Not just
Right.
that I get that he doesn't believe the way Inej does, like religiously, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But
He
I did.
still thinks it's a scam.
He
Yeah.
thinks it's a scam and he doesn't care. He just wants, because that was the other thing. I was like, if she's real and she can do what people they think that she like, why wouldn't you let her do that, like take down the foal?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
he doesn't. He thinks it's just a scam and he just needs to get paid.
Right.
And there's
And
still
I
that
think
other
part of
thing
that,
with him and the other guy. Like there's still something we don't
right,
know about with him that drives him.
right. And
Okay.
I think part of it is, Kaz's jadedness. He can't let himself believe
Mm,
that
mm,
she's real,
right.
you know,
Makes sense.
because then what would he do with that?
Right. Well, he about to find out. I hope.
About to
Oh
find
my God,
out.
they better find out before this season, man. So what does like he really still thinks after seeing that it's fake, right? Obviously, because he does the coin trick later, like telling her.
Well, I think he does believe, but it's like he believes, but he can't let himself admit that it's real,
Got it.
you know?
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah,
So Arkin sneaks into the room and he kills Marie.
poor Marie.
And he
So
shoots
sad.
Jenya. Now, did I know before this? Because I know later in the second episodes, it's like explicitly said. But here, did I know that fabricators change the Grecia's clothes so to be bulletproof?
Yeah, that's mentioned. Ivan, I think, mentions that whenever they swoop her up the first time and stick her
Okay.
in the carriage,
Yes.
that it's bulletproof.
Okay. And the reason I asked is because like when it happened with her, I was like surprised a little bit, but like not shocked, like, oh my God, And then
Right.
later, when the next episode, when Ivan says it to Jesper, I was like, this feels like new information, but not really new information. So, okay, I did know that. Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Jack. So Mal arrives. Oh wait, so yeah, and Jenya is shot, and Marie is like, I don't want to die with the wrong face, and I was like, Lord
Yeah,
Jesus,
poor baby.
that is so. Nadia is gonna be
It's so
a
sad.
mess,
Yeah,
and then
right.
it's extra sad because like after this happens, there is a shot of I think it's like Alina and is it Jenya and um Ivan's husband. Like she's in that hallway talking to two people and they or maybe it was Nadia and they're like and then they leave her alone and that's when um
Yeah, right.
Kaz and not Inez approach her. But like so but that shot of her just standing there laughing and everything, I was just like she doesn't even know someone just died for her.
Right. She has no idea.
And Arkin gets gripped up.
As
He
he
didn't even
should.
try to like pretend to. Well, because never mind. He was in performer's clothes. I kept thinking he was in guard's clothes for some reason. So when
Yeah,
he comes out the room and he starts walking one way and he turns, it's because he has like that cape. You know what I
right.
mean? So I was just like, dude, just pretend that you're.
Right.
But he could. I was like, how did they know? They grabbed him really fast, and I'm like, oh, now it just occurred to me. That's right. He didn't have the same as
Yeah.
Kaz in them. Okay. Um, so Mal arrives and he is taken to see the general, the Darkling, and he tells him that he found the stag, but he's smart enough to not tell him where
Where?
exactly without
Hmm.
he wants to see Alina first.
Right.
And when he says this was such a flex when he was like, so many people come in here saying that they want to meet the sun, like they know the sun summoner or whatever. And I'm like, really? Because she's been here
Hmm.
like a week, but okay. And I get it. But prove to me that you actually know her. And Mal was like, tell her about me. He said, tell that bitch I'm here. Watch how fast she come running.
What I love too here is that when he introduces himself, as Melian Oritsev,
Mhm.
the Darkling responds, Mal, and it's
Yes.
I like, obviously it's the writing, but it's clear to me that
Mhm.
he knows who Mal is.
Right. And I kept
But
trying to
Mal
remember.
somehow doesn't pick that up.
Yes, so that's what threw me off because I thought it was me being dumb, right?
Right.
Because you're right, he does say that, and so my impression was, oh yeah, he knows exactly who he is, and more than that, he should know the relationship, like the importance.
Right.
The thing what was throwing me off though was Sarah, I couldn't remember specific conversations between Alina and him where she would have mentioned Mal, but because he did that. I was like, oh, she must have, and you just don't remember. But then when the conversation continues and he's like, tell her about me, I'm like, dude, he knew, he shortened your name. Like,
Right. You didn't think he was just talking down to you, which maybe, you
maybe.
could say he did think that.
Yeah, because he gets to get
Right.
so comfortable is a way of being like, I can do that with you. You couldn't do that with. Don't call me Alex.
True. True.
But then, so wait, so then he was like, no, you tell me something about her. He was like her favorite flower. He's like Iris. I was like, Jesus Christ. Mal wants to get to see this girl, and then this motherfucker walks up when the Kaz and Inez is about to grip her ass up. He walks up with some lilies. This
He
was
walks up with the very blue irises.
listen
Like,
or irises. That's it. I keep saying lilies. Listen, Sarah. I missed this the first time. When he turns to pull some flowers from behind his back, I was like, you motherfucker, those are the flowers I just told you about. He probably didn't even pick them shits. He probably had somebody conjure them up. He turned some roses into irises.
They're probably books, you
Right?
know.
Yeah, they're not even
It
flowers.
was a chicken leg.
It's just this girl sniffing them. Ugh. Um. So when and again, my notes may be a bit out of order. There is a scene where she's not with him, so I don't. I mean, yeah, this might be out of order, but she's alone when Kyburn is like, "You're dangerous," and I'm like, "Why
Yeah.
aren't you more?" I don't know. I just feel like you don't talk to him the way like she doesn't respond to him the way like I feel like she should, considering the
Mhm.
type of things he's already said to her.
Yeah.
And so there's like the moments where she clearly in the beginning like she's like yeah and she's trying to walk away and then he says something else and she's like like so I'm not saying like she's too friendly. Like she definitely treats him
Hmm.
like when you're walking down the street and a motherfucker says, hey, why don't you smile? Hey,
Right.
pretty, you're just like,
Right.
leave me alone. That. But then when he's like, people are already building statues and praying to stuff in your image, like Saint Alina, and she goes, why would they do that, girl? Are you not fucking paying attention?
Right. Like people just hit their knees in the
Mhm.
hallway for you. Did you miss that
I
or
was yeah when that shit happened I was like and I noticed they have like a very like a take on the whole cross the
yeah,
crossing yourself they just touch their forehead and then like the middle of their chest with and lay their palm on their chest
right.
and they like you said drop to their knees and I'm like you saw it you know why like
Yeah.
you know what this means and how important this is but I do like that he tells her like you still don't have any idea like what role you have to play. And so I don't know, are we supposed to cuz it feels like if he's working for the Darkling and he understood like the mom understood who he is and what he wants, it feels like
Hmm.
why are you so creepy to her? Like you should why are you making her suspicious? So maybe he's not? I don't know.
Yeah, he's got his own agenda.
Okay.
Hmm.
So so then when Mal arrives, when he had arrived and he was saying that he had found the stag, it was overheard by this female guard who goes to Bagra, right?
Yeah.
Bakra. And she's like,
Hmm.
um, he's about to know exactly where the stag is and this and so she tells, she gives her a plan. We don't hear it right away.
Right.
That guard ends up attacking Mal, right? And she finds out
Hmm.
at first, she does find out that he did not yet tell the Darkling exactly where it is.
Right.
But she does try to attack and kill him. She's already killed the poor guy that,
Poor
like,
extra guy.
he was just gonna like if Mal he would have just dropped that letter off and bounced.
Ugh.
Mm. But Mal kills her. Now this was cool because when they're like fighting over like I don't know if it's like a
Hmm.
fireplace poker or something like this
Right.
long
Right.
skinny piece like this pole metal and they both have their hands on it and she's gripping it with like her two and he's trying to like push it into her chest or whatever. She starts doing
Right.
these things with her fingers
Yes, she's a fabricator.
and it moves the bird. He's looking at her fingers. I was like, stop letting her do that.
Right.
That shit was
It's coming
hilarious.
back at you.
And I like that. I like that use
That was
of
very
their
cool.
skills and the way the magic is or the
Yes.
small science is operated.
Right. And then what he does is he like breaks the leg off of a table or a chair. It's a
Yeah.
wooden leg that
Yes.
he stabs her with.
Yes.
So she can't do that.
Going back to basics. And that's funny because I'm so glad you said that because considering again what that guy said a few episodes ago about how with like the advent of the machine guns and
Hmm.
better weaponry that they are becoming less useful
Right.
in some areas and now you see that here like she had
There
all of
goes
that
another.
and he just
Hmm.
killed her with a wooden piece of wood with a piece of wood um and then the Inferni brother who was like side-eyeing Kaz and Inej follows Kaz and she tells him
Hmm.
he's an Inferni, don't take any risks with him, don't fuck around
Right.
because you will
Right.
find out. And now
They play
I
with
can believe
fire and they are crazy.
we have not talked about this and I cannot believe I've gotten all the way to episode 5 and I'm just like what's going on with Kaz's limp is he sick or did he have something? Because it reminds me. I don't. I think you said you hadn't, and don't bother. Watched any of the irregulars, but
Yeah.
and I think because I have those like 2 or 3 episodes that I did watch in my head, that I think I was mixing up plot a bit. And so there's a
Hmm.
character in there who I think is based after like a real life prince who had, oh fuck, I forget what it's called, but he basically had a disease where he was like sickly and like
Yeah.
easy, like his bones broke easily.
Hmm.
And so he kind of walks around with like a little limp sometimes. But the thing is, none of the other characters know. Like they don't even know that he's royalty because he's just like sneaking out to do hood rat
Hmm.
things with his friends, the street
Right.
urchins, right? But so
Yes.
for some reason, I just think in my head that I thought Mal had like polio or something as a kid, and I thought that explains the limp. And then it just like went out of my head. So like in this episode where he's like like the Inferni when he's there in the church, I
Hmm.
think, and he's like stepping over the pews and he's like goading him about the fact that he has that limp.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, why does he have that limp? So, do we know yet?
No, I mean, they haven't talked about it. It's just something from his childhood. And also, that's an element that the author wrote in because she uses a cane. So she wanted
Ah,
to show that characters can be perfectly capable,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
use canes.
Because listen, I legit didn't like. I saw it obviously
Yeah,
and forgot about it. Like I
right.
just forgot that this character, has a limp for some reason, or uses a cane, I should say, for some reason.
Yeah.
But oh, I was so disappointed in him. Like when he, okay, at first I thought he hit the guy's leg because he picks up like it looks like this like porcelain marble piece of like a podium or something.
Right.
Like I thought he was gonna kill him. Like this, like he was.
Smash his face.
I thought
Yeah.
this was gonna be like a John Walker moment in Latvia. But like he hurts one of his hands, and for some reason I was like, why do you think he needs two hands to do what he does? See, this is what you get for not like really paying attention to what Grisha do, like for dismissing it and being like it's all partly tricks and shit. Cause like why did you think that? So even the way he walked away, like there was like a moment I was like, did he kill him? Because you were turning your back on this Grisha, like why? And sure
Right.
enough, the guy stands up with fire in his other hands and fucking Dinesh puts a dagger in the back of his head.
And I love how he stands up. He stands up like the freaking Terminator,
Yes,
you
right?
know?
Like
Like, oh
fucking
shit.
Michael Jason fucking like he just don't die shit, all creepily and shit.
I guess it's because, coming from that side of Ravka, they don't really mix with Grisha. They have,
Yeah.
kind of half-ass Grisha
Mhm.
or,
Mhm.
people who like Heartrenders, have escaped, but they haven't really seen Inferni in
Mm.
action, especially not ones that are trained to
Right.
this degree.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, Inej makes her first real kill to protect him.
And I love like it sucks because like we saw earlier with Arkin where she considered, right? And then the way that played though, it was like she was gonna kill him, except
Right,
Cass came in. So it's just
right.
like, like, we don't I don't know what to make of that. Like, so I don't know, was that prepping us? Like, oh, she's there.
Right.
She will kill.
She keeps being put in positions where she has to
Right.
make that decision, and sooner or later, she didn't make it for Arkin, then she finally does for Kaz, and
And
then,
and the fact
later
that
she has
we
to do it for
know
herself.
exactly, and the fact that we know that the decision though, what I was thinking, like the difference is that like with Arkin, like you could see there was a struggle, and there was like he was appealing, he was pleading for his life, and there's all these other factors that you understand why someone who doesn't want to kill wouldn't just be like, nope, you're lying, slap, slap.
Right.
So I appreciated that, but to have it end with her not doing it because she's interrupted, and literally it wasn't even like he interrupted the debate, he interrupted her like presumably about to kill him. So I'm like, okay, I will never know maybe, but I
Mhm.
like here that she She just had to, because the
Right.
alternative is your friend dies. And so
Right.
it's almost like she did it, but it's still one of those, well, what was she like, what would
Right.
anyone do with that skill in
She
that
had to.
moment? She had to. But then you take it even further. And at the end of the next episode, like, she could have, because this
Hmm.
woman is threatening you, but it's kind of like Minority Report. Like, you can't punish people for something they haven't yet done.
Right.
But she couldn't. She decided clearly that she couldn't take that chance, and I think that it wasn't about her. It feels like it's about Kaz. Right?
Right.
Like when she says it's not like cute, like she's like, if she had just said I'm going to hunt you down and kill you, then
Hmm.
you'd be like, okay, well, I'll see you when I see you, because I'm still not going to
Right.
murder you. I killed your brother in self defense, but I'm not going to, and I'm trying to not die here, but I'm not going to
Hmm.
kill you if I don't have to. I think that's what Inez would have done if she had just said, I will never stop until I kill you. But she was like, I'm going to kill everything and everyone you love
First, and
first.
then you.
And then you. Yeah. So she was like, okay, well, then I'm going to take my
She
shit
had to
back.
go.
Yeah, she had to go. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I know we're jumping ahead. But in
Nope.
here, when she does this, I was like, damn.
Yes, and the way that Kaz looks at her, and then she just like flaps down once again from
Yeah, that was pretty
the
cool.
balcony, like the Phantom of the
I like
Opera.
that.
That was just,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
so good.
Um, so yeah, so I'm doing this a bit out of order. He gives her the flowers. They decide not to go have dinner. They're about to have sex when he is told what happened to um Marie,
Yeah.
and that.
This is so beautiful because when they're first in the room, they have the like if you look behind them, they had the actors stand in a way where their shadows
Mm.
match up over the map of Ravka.
Ah.
And they're like their shadows are basically kissing behind them before
Mm.
he turns around and moves in front of her.
Oh, I need
Yeah,
to go back and watch that scene.
it's so I just I love this so
That was
much.
cool. Um. Oh yeah. So he doesn't tell her anything,
Right.
right? He doesn't tell her your friend just died for you.
Yeah, he literally says it's nothing.
Yep. Didn't tell her that homegirl was shot. He was
Right.
just like, she's like, I'll be waiting. I'm like, you simp. Okay. Um, but then back. Go ahead.
And meanwhile, well, first of all, I wanted to point out that in the book, this is very different
Mm.
because like right after their performance,
Hmm.
he kind of like pushes her like backs her into like a hidden doorway,
Hmm.
and is just like so consumed by the rush of what the possibility that he just is like overwhelmed and doesn't give her a chance. He just is all over her and like sticks his hand in her skirt and
Oh my god.
says like, "Can I come to your room later?" and doesn't really give her a chance to answer because then Ivan comes and swoops him away, and she's just like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Mm.
And thinks that she wants it, but she is never really given a chance to say anything.
Hmm.
Whereas
Hmm.
here they deliberately changed the text, the actors
Hmm.
deliberately changed the text to make it, to have a moment where he stops and asks for her consent and she
Yeah.
gives it.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say that that feels like something that, and it feel like I like that. That I could definitely see that not being in a book though.
right, it definitely was not. And then, and the fact that he like walks away and then comes back in the frame is so
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's right.
they invented that and it was just beautiful. So
Hmm.
so good, so good. So we should, I just enjoyed that moment
No,
before
I'm
everything
glad
went
you
to
said that
shit.
because I forgot. I liked it too, and I forgot to mention that.
Right. And then
Um,
RIP to Ivan and Bagra, who both can sense like heartbeats. So they definitely both knew what was going on the other side of the door.
oh, yeah. Like, hurry up and knock and put it into this shit.
My
You know,
God, I got
Bagger's probably on the other side. Like, please hurry up and interrupt this shit.
it.
I do not want to see. It's been hundreds of years. She's like, I've
Again.
avoided it thus far. I don't want to hear this. Uh, So yeah, speaking of Bagua, she tells Alina to come with her in this like secret tunnel, and she tells her everything. Some of the things we learn from this is that obviously the big thing is that Kerrigan is the he's her son. He is the Black Heretic.
Hmm.
He's the one that
Hmm.
created the fold. Just like the that part of the story is true that he was trying to do it to create this army, and that the Volcra were actually the people that got
Yes.
caught up in the which you might have told me. I don't remember if you did or not. But then you know what it is too? That's the danger too when you watch the episode twice. Like sometimes you watch it the second time and when you're talking about the revelations, it's like, did I know it because I already watched the episode, or did I know this before?
Right.
So I don't
Did I
remember.
know
This
that?
feels like new information though. But either way, it's worth
Yes.
noting again, or for the
Eh,
first. It's because it's fucked up. It's
right.
so fucked up. And when she says they were men, the mom is like, they were women and children
Right.
too.
There
Like,
were cities under there. Like he did
yeah.
mention, I think maybe it came up when he was when they were talking about the Black Heretic myth earlier, where
Mm,
he was quote trying to create his own army,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
that's how the fold was created. That they think that these monsters were just the army
mm.
and not the fact that it ate up this
Right.
whole chunk of Ravka, and underneath that were people
Mm,
besides the army living
right.
there, and they are the ones that are these monsters now.
Whew. And he's been waiting centuries. And what he does is like what you would imagine. Like, it's funny because I don't know that I've read many or seen many stories about immortal characters that, like, how they survive, if that makes sense. Like, how do you,
Hmm.
how do you account for the fact that, you're not going to age past a certain point and you're going to watch people around you. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, once you get to the
Right.
point, you can't have that type of life without them knowing. And then how do you, like,
When do you
oh,
dip out?
right, when do you dip out? How do you come back in? Like, all that stuff. So here, we don't see it, but she does say, that he just faked many deaths and created many characters and served many kings just waiting for you.
Yes.
Now,
And she's got that portrait back there,
yeah, she
that like
unveils. I was like,
Dorian Gray portrait, which
I
by the way, he
was,
played Dorian Gray before, so this was like
wait a
so
second.
great.
Ben Barnes played Dorian Gray?
Yeah.
Not in Penny Dreadful, right?
No, no,
I
no.
was going to say that wasn't him. Okay, wait, when? There was like
Yeah,
a
it was a 2009 movie with Colin Firth.
really. I
Yeah,
listen. I love the Dorian Gray story.
me
It's one of
too.
those things like
Right.
my grandmother introduced to me like when I was a kid, and
Hmm.
so it's yeah. So I'm so you made that reference. I was just about to say because when she pulled the sheet off, I'd have been like, okay, wait. If I destroy this, or do we win?
Yeah,
Please
does
tell
he
me it's
turn
that
old?
simple,
Like,
right? Please tell me all we got to do is fuck this painting up because I'll help you.
I
But
read that book.
yeah, right. But yeah, I did not know that. Now I got to go look that up
Hmm.
because I do love
Hmm.
that story. Um, yeah. So I do like here, like there was like I was so afraid because so much
Yep.
has happened that I knew they weren't gonna have her go back, right?
Right.
Like maybe if this had happened a bit sooner in the story and then she just like find out the hard way, but I knew she wasn't gonna go back. But the fact that she was like no, like when she was like you're
Right.
dehydrated in your hot hut, you need to like what now we're being ageist and just ridiculous because you don't want to hear what she
Yeah.
got to say. So she was still a little too hesitant for me, and I like though that the but it makes sense though that she would just have all these questions and not know what to
Right.
do, and she just
Right.
finished thinking she was falling in love and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she should have just immediately gone with her, but I do like that the biggest push she made to go back to him wasn't about no I'm gonna he's gonna tell me it's not true, whatever. It
Right.
was we'll fight him, fuck him. Like
Right. I've got you and me, and
right.
that's all we need.
And
Yeah.
Jenya, maybe do is Jenya on our side? Please tell us Jenya's on our side. Like like I like that it was that, but I also love that she was like, "Girl, sit down." What part of
Yes. Yeah.
thousands of hundreds of years did you not get?
Yeah, Bagra is such, especially in the book, she feels like so hateful at
Hmm.
first, but then, in this moment, you finally come to realize
Hmm.
the horrible guilt that she's
Yep.
been living with and that she's been here training. She's been here not only under his control, but with her own agenda, training Grisha for
Hmm.
centuries,
Hmm.
hoping to finally find someone as powerful,
Hmm. Hmm.
and keep him from fulfilling whatever destiny he wants. And she's so sad for, she's sympathetic
Hmm.
to Alina and says, basically, it's not you.
Right. Right.
He's not a boy.
Right.
He's
Oh
eternal.
yeah, that
You
when she said that
never
he's
stood a chance.
no, yep, I love that. I'm so glad you said that. Exactly. Like this, you're not eat girl. Come on, just
Right.
go. We'll figure it out
You're
later. But
not
for now,
love.
you got to go
You're
hide.
not a
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
You're still you and that's the thing and I like that too and it makes sense, right? She's like for now you need to go hide because this
Right.
hasn't sunk in yet. Or
Yeah.
you wouldn't be saying shit like that, you know?
Right. Like, please just go sit in the pantry
Right.
until we all can take a moment,
Right.
please.
Just go. And then Mal overhears Bagra and um the Darkling
Kirikin.
talking. Yes, when she's like, now she doesn't say. She says, oh, wait, I'm
She's
trying to
bluffing herself.
right because I'm trying to remember like what she because he's still under the impression like she doesn't let on that she let her out. She's not stupid
Right.
because he legitimately thinks she was kidnapped.
Yeah, she's just like,
Hmm.
where is she?
Hmm.
Don't know. Killed the tracker. You can't have him. I
Right.
don't know. I
Cause
don't
you shouldn't
know.
right. So
Yeah.
that's the I was gonna say like she tipped her hand with some stuff and that's what it is.
Hmm.
She made him think that she had
Right.
killed Mal and that I know you were this close to that stag, but fuck you. But yeah, also go find your little girlfriend. Like
Right.
okay, that's it, yes. But Mal overhears all of that. And I like this. This is how we can get like some information and everybody on the same page without like a bunch of like other explaining stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So he
Yes.
already knows, okay, I need to go find her and not bring her back here.
Right.
um and then Jesper sees Alina get into the like trunk of the carriage that he was
Yes.
gonna, that their getaway vehicle. So when they walk up and it was like, we lost the target, and he's like, just
Did we?
ask. Just ask.
We don't know where she is, don't we?
This motherfucker.
Killing me.
That was so good. I laughed so
I
hard.
was howling.
Um, so the next episode picks up with Arkin being questioned.
He tried.
He
He
really
tried.
did. I mean, you got a heart renderer there, which is Ivan, right?
Hmm.
And then Zoya was the other
Yep.
person in the room. And he's questioned by the Darkling. And at first, he tries to play it off that he's just like this traveler and that he was surprised too. Like he didn't know they were going to do this. And
Good.
then it's revealed he pulls up because I forgot this. The markings on his arm.
Right.
What does he? I even now I don't have like a clear memory of what that looked like. What was he used? I remember when he did it in the thing that they were in, the train thing that they
Hmm.
were crossing the full.
Yeah.
But I don't remember like what he used to do it. And so him pulling up his arm and it still being there, he cuts himself.
Yeah, he
Right.
just is making hash marks.
Right, but
And
I couldn't remember what he was
yeah,
using because I was like, that doesn't
right,
wash off, but it wasn't like a mark or anything. It was just he cuts himself.
right. There's
Ah,
scars. Yeah. And the Darkling, they intimate that the Darkling can sense scarring even on people, even when it's under their clothes. Like he can sense that they're hurt or injured or
right,
maybe they
because
have
he
little
pulls
scars. So
up the
he, yeah.
sleeve. Yeah, and the fact, and then like he looks down at the arm and it looks like there's some magic going on. So I was just real confused. And then when he knew that he was the conductor and I was like, wait a
Right.
minute. Is there like some sort of lore that the conductor has these scars on it. Like, I'm like, I
Right.
couldn't. I was like, how did he piece together from the scars that he's the conductor? Because
Right.
I mean, we know that that marks, trips across the fold, but like, how would the Darkling know that unless that's attached to the
Well,
name the
because he
conductor? I don't
says
know.
that Nina was
Oh,
spying
right,
for
right.
him.
Fuck, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. I have that in my notes because he says, right. So he didn't know it was him at first, right? Or did he? Because no, no,
Right.
no. Because he didn't know his name because he was
Yeah.
still planning to be a thing. Right, 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 right.
Hmm.
Got it.
Hmm.
And then he says, I had an informant, and it was Nina, and I was like, oh, this bitch. Oh my God, I thought, but no, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't say
So
anything.
Arkin thought that Nina was his spy,
Right.
but really it was
She's so
Nina
smart.
was the
Right.
Darkling spy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I have here in my notes. I have Arkin was questioned and killed. Nina was the feds.
Yeah.
But he's like, we knew she's supposed to be crossing with some people, but we lost track. Like, we don't know where she is. And he is like, no, I swear I don't know anything about that. And that's true, of course. Um,
Right.
why she never showed. But so they know that that's true, but they also know that who he is and what he's been doing, and so he's dead now.
Oh yeah. These guys, I mean, they're team villain, but Ivan and Zoya are so cool in
Mm-hmm.
this moment
Yeah.
because you can tell that they've worked together before,
Mm-hmm.
and all he has to do is just kind of incline his head, and they
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what's going on, and they're like, well, we're done here, and they just all like saunter out in slow motion
Ah, poor guy. I mean,
as he casually strangles him
mm-hmm.
with shadows.
Mm. Now I don't remember when they not find, when Alina finds herself in the presence of the crows. They already knew she was back there.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
she does get away from them because of what she can do and because Inez refuses to harm her.
right. She uses her sewing kit essentially to get out of the box,
That's right. What
which cracked me up.
what is though I'm trying to remember, what did they tell her? Who did they say they were to her?
They were
Like,
just like, we're not trying to hurt you. We're trying to get you back across the fold, and it seems like you don't want to be here. So if you just come along,
right. They're definitely
that'll
not
work out
saying
for
we'll get
everybody.
right. They're definitely saying we're going to get paid.
Right.
Okay. But she does go get away. Nina saves
Hmm.
Matthias. She
Yep.
saves him. She finds him like on this piece of like wood.
Right.
Uh,
They're
and
Jack and Rose in it.
yes, and he's like unconscious, and she touches him and like warms him up, or accelerates his heartbeat to like wake him up, and he sees her and he's like, witch, and like falls in. I'm like, men are
Why?
just
He's so dramatic.
they're just fucking children. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you wake up, you almost fucking died, like you wake up and you're not dead and you're like, oh, witch, like, you dingbat.
Why
Big
is he like
oaf.
this? Yes.
Lucky you're pretty.
He is so aggravating to me. I
He
mean,
really
I,
is.
I like him, but he's so, God,
Like, I'm
just
here
calm
for this.
down.
I'm here for this, but not because he deserves it.
No,
He
right.
don't deserve what she's about to lay on him.
No. It's because they're cute together, but
Right.
he's very aggravating.
Yes, she's delightful. Um, so Zoya goes to the Darkling, and we find out a few things here. They used to fuck,
Apparently.
but he ain't been giving it to her since Helena was found. But she tells him, maybe she ran. Cause he's like, get Ivan. It's gonna. I want my top squad. We gonna go get her back. And she's like, maybe she don't want to be got.
Right, she's taken this opportunity,
Hmm.
to drop some doubts because she doesn't want Alina to be the Darkling special girl. She wants to be
Hmm.
the special girl. And I love how he just kind of sits down like the spider that he is
Hmm.
and just lets her talk herself into the web.
Yep.
And then cuts her off at the knees.
She's like, I used to come in here and your desk was a mess and your desk was messy and your bed was neat and I'd help you make it the other way around or something like that.
Right.
And or help you make them match or something. And so I just want you to like relax again. And he's like, I'll relax when I have Alina Starkov. And I was like, also, y'all need to stop saying her full government name because it's unnecessary. It's very booky and annoying, and I hate it. Stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's ooh, that hurt. I was like, sis.
Not gonna try that again. And I love how he, when he's really trying to be imperious, and he just like pulls himself all the way back and
Yes.
starts looking down his nose,
Yes.
like angles his head back, and that's how you know
Uh
you
huh.
fucked up.
Um, Alina is like attacked by these guys on the street in this town that she's in, or like they come with me. I don't know. She like
His
uses her
spinner trash. Yeah.
yeah, and she uses her power to like blind him to get
Hmm.
away.
Hmm.
Um, and they chase her into the woods, and she's hiding when Mal appears because he's been tracking her since the castle. And
Yep.
he tells her that later. He's like, "I've been tracking you since the little palace," and I was like, wait, what? And then I was, because for some reason I expected him to say since like you left. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like since episode one, like I felt like that's what I thought he was getting at. But he's like, I've been tracking you since the little, and I'm like, no, you haven't. You did this, you did that, and I was like, oh, wait, no, he means since, yeah, because he overheard
Yeah.
the thing. Okay,
Right.
um, and then Matthias and Nina
Hmm.
find like a whaler was just by, so they find like this shelter. And she, because of her power, she's like, we need to get out of these wet clothes. We need to like get under these blankets and use our body heat, or else we're gonna die. Like we're and
Right.
he's a fucking prude.
It's so annoying. You're like, how can you be from Norway or, whatever, Fjerda, and not understand that if you don't get out of wet
Right.
clothes,
That
you're
this
going to die.
right. He's like I'm like, this is his small science. This is just science. This ain't magic, stupid. You
They
just
don't
need.
have books up there,
I
apparently.
guess not. Um. Yeah, but she's so like she's just delightful. I just really like her.
Yes. She's like,
Um.
you don't have, I like, you can take off your clothes. Like, it's nothing I haven't seen.
And
You
then
don't have
she
anything special.
and
And
then
he's
she
like,
looks at him and he's just like sculpted. Like
right.
and she's like,
She's like,
yeah.
yeah, so definitely seen so much of that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about like where she came from. I'm like, I ain't seen nobody like that. You better stop. So Mal and Alina, they kind of have it out, right? And they learned
Right.
that they did write each other. She gets in a little dig without saying Zoya because she assumes that
Right.
he had a thing with her because Zoya lied. And she says something about like, are you your squalor girlfriends or something like that? And are you still scared of Grisha women? And he's like, only the ones that keep secrets from me, like you two. Just kiss and shut up.
Stop it.
But she confirms that she didn't know that she was Grisha and that she didn't. She's like, they would have taken you away from me. And he was like, to a palace, stupid.
Right. And I think once he gets past that initial, like,
Hmm.
you are so ridiculous, it finally starts to set in what she's done for him all
Hmm.
these
All
years.
those years, just so he would not be alone.
Yeah.
Um, and then, oh, he tells her that he found the stag and. So, hold on a second. I gotta say hello to my dog. What's wrong?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Hi. Hi, baby. He just wake up? Oh, his little eye. Look, he's looking at the bed. He sees, he's like, what is this? Is there anything to eat? Give me a kiss so I can go back to work. Oh, right on the eyeball. I love you. Oh, your breath stinks, though. Okay. Oh my God. I love this dog so much. It's ridiculous. It's just disgusting.
So precious.
I did not know. I did not know I'd be this person, Sarah. like earlier today, because Kaylee brings him in here to say hello and stuff. So she's like holds him like a baby, and I'm just sitting here earlier, and I was like, oh, I was like, Kaylee, it's like I gave birth to him. It's like he's just my baby. I love him so much. He's just the sweetest. Okay, so so then he tells her that he found the stag, and he thought like I thought. He was like, I
Right.
thought this was you telling me to come
Yeah.
back.
Right.
She was like,
I
no.
thought you were sending me messages.
Right. I thought you were because that made right. Didn't I tell you that's what I thought happened? And
Right.
when he
Yeah.
volunteered to do it because he saw the drawing, I thought, oh, she must have did that because that was also after one of many scenes of her writing at that fucking table.
Right.
So I assumed that I didn't pick up that he, yeah. And so Mal thought the same thing, and she was like, yeah, no, I was over you at that point. This
He's
is,
like, I thought you were sending me to the grocery store, but it turns out that Kerrigan stole that sketch from her journal.
yes. Um, Inez admits to Kaz that she did let Alina go. This is where we get the,
Yes.
scene, the coin trick. Um,
Right.
Now, this is interesting. Back to Matthias and Nina. when they finally, he finally admits that he likes her and he doesn't want to like her. He's like, how do I
Right.
know that you're not making me like you?
Right.
And I do like that. I do like the very real
Sure.
concern that I can't trust myself around you because you could be making me say and do anything, right?
Right. He doesn't know,
Right.
the
And
length of her powers.
and the fact that he's super religious and he thinks you're a witch, like, do you know, or like that they
Yeah.
were literally gonna kill you, if the ship hadn't capsized. So anyway, so I like that. I like that him saying that. He's like, I like you, I don't want to like you, and I get why he likes her because she's fucking delightful. Did I say that?
Right.
And when they have like this moment where they're laughing and stuff and she falls into the ice, like at first I thought it was gonna be like, because it was so obvious something was about to happen, I thought she like felt like in water, like no,
Yeah.
this was like a fucking cavern. She would have been dead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you listen, like the second time I saw it, if you behind their horsing around, they're being so loud that you miss the cracks, but you can hear it,
Oh,
that it's cracking under her feet.
so when he's holding her, like he catches her, he's holding her arms, and there's that moment where she stares at him and she says please.
Yeah.
And like before that though, like the look on his face, like I couldn't call it. I was like, and
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the character wasn't going to die, but I was like, wow, like this actor is really selling. Like, was he playing her?
Yeah. He's like, I could get this done right now.
Right. But when she says please, that was like it was just so that got me. Like that was just, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I just felt like that was like a genuine plea for your life. It didn't feel like acting to me. I love that. And then he
Right.
pulls her up, and I like this because he was holding her hand. She could have made him do that, right? Like could she have like made him pull her up?
She could have kind
Like
of
if he
turned his mood,
that's what I was
maybe.
gonna say. Like
Yeah.
if he was feeling like malicious or something in that moment, she could have turned his mood and made him help or at least not kill her.
Feel more friendly towards her.
Right. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that she didn't have to
Yeah.
do that, and that
Yeah.
that could be a show even of to him the trust that she trusted you to just be a human,
Right.
But either way, yeah. And then he gives her the coat when they go walking off.
Yeah.
So now they're walking off, and I'm like, but wait, are we going to your house? Because they want to burn me. Like, where are they going again? I forgot. Like,
They're just trying to find the
Shelter.
next city, 'cause
Okay.
they don't really know where they are.
okay, because I'm like, where are we going? We
Right.
can't go back to your place.
Yeah. They're not yet sure what side of the border they're on. So.
She's like, they burn bitches where you come from, and I'm bitches.
We're not going there. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I forget what the trap was. The alarm system that they set up. The
Oh
crows,
yeah.
and
Well,
that
before
they set.
before they leave the pub, um, Kaz lets on to Inej that he has mortgaged the club, basically.
Right.
Because
Thank you. I
he
forgot
says
that.
something to, to her,
Yep.
and something about, well, she's like, why are you so mad? Like, you
Mhm.
can't blame me for letting her go
Right.
because you also didn't stop her.
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, well, Tante Helene gets the club if we don't get back. And she's like, but why? And then,
Mhm.
of course, because he is who he is and he
Mhm.
can't, explain himself fully because that would involve feelings,
Mhm.
he just like
Mhm.
huffs off. But the trap that
The crows.
Jesper,
Jesper.
yes,
Uh huh.
that Jesper set was explosives in their carriage.
Right. And so when that happens, they're like they know that there are people there looking for them,
Hmm.
or so at least somebody tried to get into a carriage. And they do come face to face with the Grishas, and I think her name is Kalina, the sister of the Inferni
Sure.
that was killed last week, right? Or last
Hmm.
episode. She recognizes the hilt of
Hmm.
uh Inej's knife.
Knife. Yeah. Yeah.
So
She's got all these fancy knives.
so did Inej leave her knife in that man's head?
I think so. Yeah.
Why would you do that?
No.
Plot, I guess,
She
but
was
still.
just stunned, and they had to get out of there.
But
And
also, I mean, I guess maybe it takes some strength to pull a knife out of skull. If I don't know,
right, they're not in The Walking Dead, so
right?
skulls, I hear, are pretty
That's
tough.
tough, right? I haven't tried to stab anyone in the head lately, but who knows? The night is young. But okay, so Kalina recognizes she loses her shit.
Oh my God.
And they run and split up. The crows split up. Kalina chases Inej, and Ivan chases Jesper.
Yes.
Now, this shit right here.
Hmm. Yes.
So they run into like this. It looks like almost like a laundry room of some sort because it's like
Right.
all these sheets hanging,
Right.
and he's Ivan's taunting Jesper fires a shot because he's the super shot, right? And
Right.
like in one direction, and it bounces off of a bunch of shit, ricochets, and hits Ivan in the chest area, shoulder area. But
Right.
this is where we get the exposition about the fabricators doing stuff with their clothing, so that they
Hmm.
can be bulletproof. And so what I noticed here was he was not very shocked that that shot went the way like that happened, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a fire and then I got hit. Like it was fire, and of course the bullet travels fast, but they made a point of like ding ding ding, like you could hear
Right.
it ricocheting off of stuff. I would assume he did as well, and then it hit him.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
like, is that just a thing
Yeah.
that you don't stop and just be like, how the fuck did he do that? Then
Right.
when he does it again, he's like,
Hmm.
oh, shooting me in the same spot. So it's like, motherfucker, now you know that he could do it twice and get the
Right.
same spot. Why are we not amazed?
Stand behind a pillar
Or
or
something,
something.
and just be like, what the fuck? So then like later when he's like, what are you? You're
Yeah.
and then and I'm like, what is he? I'm so fucking upset. This is what happened in my notes. What is Jesper? With like 3 exclamation points and question marks.
And he just cuts him off, and he's like, "You know too much." Yeah.
Oh my god. He's like, that's where you should have stopped. You should have stopped when you were ahead.
Right.
Um,
Because of course, if a bullet, I mean, sure, it's gonna stop a bullet,
mhm.
but you hit somebody 3 times in the same spot,
It's
gonna
wearing, yeah.
hurt like hell. Yeah.
Um, and then there's of note here is that they both run into children a couple of times, and Ivan, the first time he makes the kid go to sleep.
Right.
He's like, shh. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Can you imagine just making your kids go to sleep?
Right.
My God, how different parenthood would be. My God.
Right.
You'd have the most
Are Grisha better
well-behaved.
parents or terrible
I
parents?
don't,
That's
I
the
don't
question.
know. I wouldn't tell anybody, but I'd have the best, most well-rested, best behaved fucking kid. Y'all figure it out how I did it. Um, and Kalina is catches up with Inej, and they fight, and Inej eventually stabs her, and she's like, "Now you know I like leaving my daggers behind, so I'm gonna leave this one
Yet another one.
in your heart, and I would not pull this out unless you are close to a healer, or else you'll bleed out in 30 seconds." And this bitch decided to talk shit.
Like, now is a great time to be racist.
Right? Oh my God.
She just didn't want to live. She didn't
No.
want to live.
And I mean, I get it too, because she might, I mean, I think, and they kind of hinted at that earlier when she saw her and she yelled and she like just let out all this fire. And Zoya was like, you can't burn everything to the ground. She was like, I will burn all this shit to the ground. Watch me, bitch. So then you had to know that she wasn't going to be out here like playing it smart. Like it
Right.
feels like she's like, my brother's gone. Before I go, I'm going to kill this bitch. But she was
Right.
prepared to die.
Yeah.
Wow. But now I'm wondering though, I mean, for all we know, like a healer could have just turned the corner, but I don't know.
Hmm. No.
So he's like, well, then I'll take my knife back. Shit. Kaz comes face to face with the Darkling, and he tells him that Alina left on her own. Oh, dip.
This was so good. I've heard this referred to as the Batman versus Superman moment, because obviously the Darkling is
Mhm.
Superman and,
Mhm.
and overpowered, and there's no way that Kaz should survive this
Yes,
moment.
because
But he
listen,
throws, yeah.
listen. Wait, before that though, Sarah, I like this comes together, and I'm like, we're about to find out something, like that they know
Hmm.
each other or something, because there's no reason Cass doesn't die here
Right.
otherwise. I was like, some big reveal is coming that's gonna, reveal, because even like with his mother, one thing I wondered is if she is so openly defiant against him, why
Hmm.
hasn't he killed her?
Because he has mommy issues.
Well, I mean, I would understand why. I'm not saying like you should just be killing your mom, but I'm saying in this case, considering he's centuries old, he's evil, and she's not on his side. Like she's
Right.
openly
Right.
defiant of him doing his end goal. Like it's just so he keeps her around. So like there was a moment like where I was thinking, oh, is this gonna be his brother or some shit? I don't know, like because Kaz otherwise should be dead,
Right.
except he has trinkets and gadgets.
Hmm. Hmm. He's just that good, I
Hmm.
guess.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with him being that good because this is a world with Grisha in it, and yeah,
Right.
these characters like him and Inej, they need to be that good. I still want to know what Jesper is. Do you know?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, you've already watched the next two episodes, right?
I do, but they don't reveal it. Yeah.
Why? I don't have time to read books.
Do you want me to tell you and then people can just skip 30 seconds ahead?
No, no, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell
Okay.
me. I'll wait.
I mean, I think he can put it together based on his talents.
Me?
Sure.
Me.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Wait a second. Wait. Is he something that like I already know exists in this universe? Because I was thinking he's gonna be something I haven't been told yet. But
No,
if
he
he's
is
something
something.
that
Yeah.
I've already learned about,
Yeah.
then okay, then I'll take some guesses because
Sure.
I thought like I didn't know if there was something yet to be
No.
revealed about this universe. So, and I'm not saying this, but like, for all I know, he could be a fucking vampire. I don't fucking know. Like, that's my thinking, that he was something else that, okay, 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 okay. Is he a fabricator?
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Right.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, how the fuck? And it's so weird to me. Like, how does Kaz not know that? Or does he know?
I think he I think he does know. And earlier in the season, remember when Pekka broke Kaz's cane, and then Inej says, Jesper fixed your cane, and that's because he like knit it back together.
Ah, okay. Oh, I gotta go back. I'm gonna have to like binge this whole thing. Okay. All right. That's the only reason. And like, there are probably people listening right now, like, bitch, what did you think he was? I told you, vampire. Okay.
I mean, you don't know.
I don't fucking know.
It's
That's
a
the
fantasy world.
right, and it's a new one. To me anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I've never. It's not like again. It's not like vampire, werewolves, but things we'd heard of before. If you hadn't read these books, you'd never heard of a fucking Grisha. Like
Sure.
all of this stuff is new. So I didn't know if there was something else to be revealed. That's why I was like, don't tell me.
Right.
But okay. Um.
Yeah.
All right. So where was I? Oh my God, this is some funny shit. Um. When they go to steal the carriage,
Yes.
they're gonna call it a night or call it. They're gonna go. Like okay, we survived this one, but barely. Let's take this carriage, and they open the door, and the guy throws a book at him, and then he comes out, and Kaz like hits him with the cane. I totally didn't get the next statement
Yes. It is so
until
funny.
my rewatch. Poor David. He's a fabricator. He threw a book at him.
And it is a copy of Shadow and Bone
I was
as well.
gonna. Oh my God, that was my next thing because I literally kept rewinding it and trying to pause
Yeah.
it because
Hmm.
like when he opens the carriage, I didn't get a good look at it. But when he picks it up and he says he threw a book at me, then you can see
Right.
the cover. I think the clearest, and I kept trying to pause it, but I watched this on my Xbox, and so like the when you pause, it brings up options for you to do other stuff. So I couldn't get like a clear look at it. But it just occurred to me only because the font they use, for the poster and the copy, the
Right.
cover on Netflix. Yeah. And I was like, that looks like the same font.
Yeah, it's written in Ravkan, but the like aesthetics are
Mm,
yeah.
that is so cool.
Yeah. And
That is really
there's
cool.
something important about this moment that sets up in future seasons where when Inej jumps down and she's been stabbed
Yes.
and Kaz sees her and like he kind of like sways towards her but jerks himself back and Jesper it just happens to be closer so he catches her so there's like no need for Kaz to
Mm,
grab her and Kaz just looks like he's going to be sick and part of that plays into Kaz's deal like
okay.
Kaz has like a phobia and
Ah, got it.
yeah and that's like why he you know
Got it.
I don't know how
Okay.
much more to elaborate,
Now
but
I got it. Okay.
yeah, but
Okay.
to make up for it, I just that to me it's so funny because to make up for his issues,
Hmm.
Kaz does these ridiculous things like earlier when earlier in the season when he couldn't really admit to her what was going on, he
Right.
mortgages the club to make sure that she stays with him.
Hmm.
And then here she looks like she's gonna bleed out, so he fucking steals the Darkling's carriage, you know?
Yes.
Like, just like, yes. What?
He's like, that looks like a really nice ride. Like, it does. And the comedy of that though, because it's like surely you're not standing here pondering stealing the carriage of the person that's hunting you. That
The
means that if
Darkling's carriage,
right,
why?
like the one place he's gonna be eventually is right here. He's gonna come to this carriage at any moment. What are you doing? Oh my god. Now with David here, so when is David like being picked up off the ground?
Oh my God.
And he's like, he's so there's like a moment again because I did not the second time like for notes again I don't know if I remember that it was David, right?
Yeah.
I must have, but what I didn't get because I do remember I think both times I watched when Ivan is like telling him what happened.
Yeah.
There was like a moment like both times where I thought the guy that got hit is gonna die. Like I
Yeah.
thought the Darkling was gonna take out the failure of not catching her and
Sure.
them getting away with his carriage on the guy that was in the carriage reading a book.
Yeah.
And then when I realized it was David, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. He's not gonna kill David. But then
Right.
David like raised his hand to speak. He was like, you know what? Never mind what.
Yes. This moment is just so good. I've seen it so many times in like GIFs and everything. Because David raises his hand and like looks away, like he can't look directly at the Darkling. Like,
Aw.
teacher, call on me, please, teacher. And even the Darkling, this powerful, godlike
Yes.
man, it's like, okay, I can't even explain this to him. Yes?
Yeah, he's just like that it's almost like there was a frustration but also just an acknowledgement of the
Right.
preciousness of it all. Like, like
Yes.
even he
David.
can't
Yeah.
be like a dick to this guy.
Right. It's just his precious little
Hmm.
little egg.
He tells the Darkling that uh Jenya
Mhm.
gave Alina a ring that is made out of something, I forget what he said, but it's pure, and that if he gets within a mile of it, he can track it.
Yes.
And because he knows Mal, he finds out through like the guy on the street that she had attacked, or that the street harasser, right? He ends up telling the Darkling that Mal was also there looking for her,
Right.
asking around. And so and he also went off into the woods, and he's like a tracker with the first, I forget what it was called,
Hmm.
first union or
Hmm.
something like
The
that,
First Army.
first
Hmm.
army. And and the Dark is like piecing it together. He's like, this bitch, she laughed, now she's with that motherfucker. It gets
I,
worse.
lo-
It's like,
I love how he says, no ordinary tracker,
yeah,
no ordinary girl.
yeah.
Adorable.
He's like, yeah, he's so disgusted. He was like reunited. Oh, dramatic petty
Dun
bitch.
dun dun.
So he knows that they're in the woods, um, and that who she's with. So they're like fuck them, meaning the crows getting away with their carriage. They're
Mhm.
going into the woods after Alina with
Yeah.
with David in having this ability. And I'm like, y'all are mighty certain she would keep the ring, because I would fucking not have
Right?
anything from that fucking castle on me. Like, I would just feel guilty having the jewel. Ugh, that would make me feel dirty and gross. I would
Yeah,
sell
I'm
that shit.
definitely. Well, sure. And maybe that's what she's thinking, but I would definitely, it's not like pinky rings are great forest wear,
Right, right. Like, it's just, but I'm assuming that's going to be of importance. That he's going to end up tracking that ring somehow, whether it leads into her or not. I don't know, but um. And then the last thing I want to touch on before I check to see if there's feedback is that when she's talking about Alina and Mal when they decide to go after the stag, and she talks about how he's not gonna give up, he's gonna keep hunting her, Alexander. She says, and I was like, who the fuck is Alexander? The way I cackled, because I was like, ooh. That's just how a man works. He was like, he peeped that shit. He was like, Alexander. So when she has to turn around and say, General Carey, there's only one reason she would be calling him by his government name like that. The name his mama gave him, his Christian name.
Right. Mal's like, oh, don't tell me.
Right? And she's like, listen. He's like, nope, don't want to know.
La 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 la. Didn't happen.
And now this is the type of thing where if they had made him sleep with the other girl,
Right.
it would have been like a thing where, you would assume, oh, well, of course he's not going to be upset because, he did what he did
Sure.
or whatever. But this feels so like sweet and pure that it, if that makes sense, like it feels like they weren't going to let this relationship kind of be tainted with that kind of start.
Right.
If that makes
Right.
sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you fuck this girl, I fuck the Darkling. Let's call it even.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Let me see something. I don't think we have feedback. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Oh, yeah, we do. Oh, it's Kimberly. It was just left a few hours ago. She's talking about something completely different. No, it's about the show, but it's not about the episode. She says, Netflix released some behind the scenes tea. During downtime, the cast watched British Bake Off. Now, all I want to do with my life is sit on a couch with Ben Barnes watching British Bake Off. Oh, and very happy to have y'all in my ears again.
Same.
Was he in? No, they didn't figure out a way to bring him back to Westworld for season 3. Just 2, 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am going to go watch these next 2 episodes.
Enjoy.
Did you enjoy them?
I did.
Okay, I know you said like these 2 were your favorite, but
Right.
but
Just because they were so like fun.
yeah,
You know?
they were really great episodes. But you did enjoy the finale.
Yes, I
Okay.
think it is interesting how they end things, but yeah, I think it's great because obviously things are going to jump off from here and just get like crazy dark.
And has it
So
been officially renewed?
it has not been officially renewed, but I would find it very hard to believe that they don't renew it because they've been putting a ton of energy into their interviews. They've been doing cast interviews like every single day. They've been putting out all these like side stories and the social media, and it's been #1 in many countries ever since it came out. So I
Yeah.
would be shocked if they
Well,
don't renew it.
it's funny that video that I shared that was in my recommendations in YouTube about a week or so ago, where it's the cast. So it's Nina and Kaz and Inej and Mal and Alina.
Yeah.
And they were like, it was in the evening and they were somewhere like outside of London, I think, like,
Hmm.
but like not like out in the middle of nowhere though. And so they're like, it looks like they're like the entrance of a castle basically.
Right.
And behind them, and it's nighttime, like I said, and they're in their coats and they're sitting like in these director chairs and they're like asking each other questions, like who's most like their character, like
Right.
silly shit like that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there's like this thunder and then lightning, but it looks like the lightning hits like the building like right behind them, and they jump and and at this point, I feel like we had only watched. Well, I had the first 2 episodes, so we had maybe only done one podcast at this
Yeah.
point. So, I still didn't know what to expect from like the actors and stuff, and I don't think I had met Nina yet. I don't think when I
Hmm.
saw this video. So I was like, oh, this is a character that's coming up, but I hadn't met her yet in the show. So anyway, um, you've seen the video. So this is happening, and there was like a moment, and they kept getting scared. It was like a promotional thing, and there was a moment where I thought this was going to be the cast finding out about season 2.
Right.
I thought HBO like had them sit there and do that. So I kept waiting for something to appear on the wall behind them that says like, Shadow and Bone
Right.
season 2 coming soon or
Sure.
whatever. And then it was nothing. And I was like, oh, this was legit just jokes.
They were just pranking them. Yeah.
But
Just
yeah, like
jokes.
I thought I thought that it would have been announced by now. And when that wasn't it and I hadn't heard anything, I said, "Oh, maybe it was, one of those things where um you know how sometimes like they will tell you in advance, like
Hmm.
before it even debuts, a show gets
Right.
a second season. I was like, maybe it's something because it just felt like it was like a given, and that if
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, it's just that I just missed it. But okay, what the fuck are they waiting
Yeah.
for? Come on, Netflix.
I don't know. Like, are they trying to give it a full month
They're
or
waiting.
like
They're waiting for me to finish. They're waiting
they're
for it to
waiting for
feel like
us
a
to do our
real
final
TV show
podcast?
because like this. It does kind of. I think because I'm behind. That
Hmm.
it's weird. Like like when you go week to week, it does feel like what are they waiting for? But this has been out for a while now.
Right.
Everything's dropped at once. What the fuck are you waiting for?
I
Okay.
agree. I really think they're going, I mean, I really hope they're going to, but I really think they're going to because, for so many reasons that I
Yeah.
already said, but, the cast works so well together and they're
They really
so
do.
just delightful.
Hmm.
And I mean, they're inexpensive.
And yeah, and it's just like franchise gold, I think.
Agree.
You know what I
Agree.
mean? Like this is
Yeah.
like yeah, like there's so much here, especially when you introduce the vampires in season
Next
3.
season.
The shit that I thought was coming.
Jesper is, of course, the lead vampire.
Yes. Well, that is it. We will be back next week to do these final 2 episodes. If you are listening to just the free shows, we will be talking about next week's Mayor of Easttown with Ellen at some point next week. John joined us on the most recent one that we recorded like 2 nights ago, I think. Um, really enjoying that. And then premium folks, we have what is coming up besides Loki? Oh, we're gonna do Sweet Tooth, which have you seen the trailer for that, Sarah?
No, I
Okay.
haven't.
I will post it in the group. It's a Netflix original based off of a comic book, and it's like fantastic. It's like I can't. You just have to go. I just have to show it to you. It's just,
Okay.
I can't explain it. It's. I never heard of the comic, but like
Hmm.
people like it, like Chance, and he says it's really good. It's a great comic. So
Oh, okay.
there's that, and there's like another show that I've seen a trailer for that I thought looked good. I think it's also Netflix in June, but I will double check and get back to you guys. But anyway, we have a lot of good stuff coming up. So thank you for listening. And me and Donnie will be back tomorrow with the next episode of The Nevers.